Reawaken to your immortal identity and discover life between life's wisdom. Presented by the Michael Newton Institute.
Hi everyone. Guess what? We're back with something very different this time. You did hear, and I think you must have also seen, we've been giving you these sneak peeks about my story, my journey. So, in this new season of our Wisdom podcast series from MNI, we have these beautiful souls from across the globe who are part of the Michael Newton Institute family, who are sharing with us their journey, their stories, all about their life, their evolution as souls, in their experience of this incarnation as human beings, and in their relationship with Michael and Michael Newton Institute. Follow us month on month, and you will find that we will be bringing to you all these stories, the journeys of these beautiful souls from across the globe. I'm looking forward to bringing them to you. And I really, truly hope you enjoy what we're bringing for you. And do let us know in the comment section below what you want, what you feel, and how any of our stories touch your lives. Dr. Teoh Hooi-Meng is trained in and practices NLP, hypnotherapy, age and womb work regression, past life regression, and LBL spiritual regression therapy, Reiki, second energy healing, energy medicine, timeline therapy, singing bowl sound healing therapy, and EFT. Meng is a certified international instructor in hypnosis as well as a master clinical hypnotherapist registered with General Hypnotherapy Register of United Kingdoms. He is an NLP trainer and timeline therapy master practitioner as well as a master trainer with the Master Trainer Institute of New York. Trained by the Newton Institute of LBL Hypnotherapy America, Meng is the first registered Chinese facilitator and trainer in the world certified in the science and art of LBL spiritual regression hypnotherapy. Currently, his center, HM Life Coaching and Training, is the only registered affiliated training school of GHSC of UK in Malaysia, and is actively conducting certification courses and training in hypnosis and NLP. Dr. Meng is regarded as one of the most influential regression therapists in Malaysia and specializes in age and womb work regression, past life, as well as life between lives regression therapy. He also acts as a consultant in hypnotherapy with the Malaysian Psychology Center. Dr. Meng in Malaysia is a member of the Malaysian Society of Complementary Medicine in the Psychotherapy chapter, as well as fellow of the Malaysian Association of Psychotherapy. Hi everyone, and welcome back to today's edition of the My Story. MNI and I just love doing this. We've had some wonderful souls who've come into this space and shared their story with us. And we have one such very special soul. And I take great pride, it's actually an honor to have Dr. Meng join us from all the way in Malaysia. And I just want to say a very warm welcome to you, Meng. And I am so happy that you're here with us in today's edition of My Story.
Yeah, thank you, Indrani. And a very good afternoon here in Malaysia to everyone listening to this recording.
I think, what is so beautiful about the global aspect of this family of ours in MNI is you're there in Malaysia, I'm here in Dubai, and yet because of the wonderful spiritual connection that we all have and that we all share, the common purpose, the goal, it just makes it so beautiful to be able to welcome you here. And I'm looking forward to you sharing your story with us. And that
Okay.
brings me to something that I'm curious to know. Meng, what brought you into MNI?
Well, the thing is, way back in the late 90s, I was actually just typical hypnotherapist, a trainer. And at that time, when I was doing regression, there was a time when suddenly some of my clients, when I asked them, can you notice, what are you and things like that, they keep on telling me they only see lights. And I don't understand, because I never come across anything like that, because all the while I know that when we regress a person into their past life or into this thing, it will always have a human form. Then I start to wonder whether I've already lost my touch. So I gave up regression completely. And then at that time, my eldest daughter happened to go to US for study, and my wife accompanied her over there. And during her stay in the US, she went to a bookstore and suddenly picked up a book written by Michael Newton. It's A Destiny of Soul. And she knew that I love to read books on hypnotherapy without realizing that this is spiritual hypnotherapy. She brought it back, gave it to me, and when I read it, it gave me goosebumps, because everything there written is exactly what I've been doing. So I immediately wrote I wrote an email to, at that time is TNI. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm very interested with whatever you do. Is it possible for me to learn? And I received a reply from TNI at that time, and they want me to apply. So when I did my application a year later, and they said, well, you are ready to take the so-called training. And I took the training at Bedford in England, year 2005. That's where I start to, come into LBL and MNI. Yeah.
So, Meng, tell me your connection to Michael. I think for a lot of us, the connection began with his books.
Yeah.
And you were
yeah.
there during that time. What was your connection? I would love to hear about your connection with Michael.
Well, when I first arrived in England, and I checked into the the place where we're supposed to have our training, and there was some time lapse. When I went there, I saw Michael and Peggy at the I think it's at the coffee house. Mm-hmm. I went in there and I looked at him. After reading the Destiny of Soul, to me he's just like a mentor, a beacon of light. I approached him. I said, Michael, and he immediately knew who was I, because I think he already saw my application and things like that. And he addressed me. I was so touched. Then I sat down with him, with Peggy, and I asked him the first question. I said, Michael, your book that I read is all about vocation. And I'm from an Asian country. I have my God, the Goddess Mercy and things like that. Would I be able to see Goddess of Mercy and my monkey God when I go into LBL? And he looked at me and smiled at me, and he said, I'm not going to tell you anything. You experience this yourself, and then later at the end of the training, we'll talk about this. And that's my first interaction with Michael. And it's a wonderful, connection.
You know, and I can share this honestly, that we were possibly the last batch before Michael went into light. And I remember I was still in the US at that time. And I remember very clearly when we got the news. This is just after we had finished our training. I was still in the US, and we got the news as a message. And I remember sitting in my prayers that day, and there was this strange, you know, how you feel as if you lost a parent figure. Yeah, but I've never met him physically. But it was this presence that we constantly felt while we were in training. And
Yeah.
when I connect with you, when I connect with Pete, Diana, Paul, Pete, you know, I think for anyone who has connected and met Michael in his incarnation as Michael, the huge body of memories that you carry, lessons that you carry, and then when you share it with us, it is actually, that's why I said when I started, Meng, it is an honor to have you share your experience, your story with us, because more than the viewers, I think I'm excited, and I've been wanting. I was like, Meng's going to tell us so much that, you know, he must have experienced when he trained with Michael, because training with him was it something that made you see things differently? How did it connect you, not just to the concept of spiritual hypnotherapy, but we all come from a collective consciousness. Did it create any shift in the way you were approaching, let's say, you know, your purpose of the work that you do?
Yeah. To me, he gave me a lot of energy. So when I'm in front of him, you are not seeing him, you are actually sensing his energy when he actually exudes a lot of loving energy from him, you know. And it's something that you cannot describe, but you have to really be there. And then, you know, I would say during the training, he actually touches me. He touched me a lot. He gave me a lot of insight. The way that he talked, the way that he approached things is something that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life, to be honest. Yeah.
Meng, in your line of work in Kuala Lumpur, I do believe that you are our torchbearer in that entire region of the Far East. So when we look at the countries in the Far East and in the eastern part of this beautiful planet, well, you're the first one who's always in our space.
Yeah.
You know, you're the one who's taking MNI forward there. How has that experience been for you? Because I know you travel to other countries. You're really overseeing a lot of the training that our institute's going through. How has that been for you as a soul, as a person?
When after coming back from England, I was the first one who have actually been trained in LBL. And at that time, in this part of the world, LBL is something new. Nobody knows. And I have to actually going around and spreading the work of Michael Newton, and then introducing the books and things like that. In the beginning, it was very tough because nobody accepted, even though the concept in LBL actually is very similar to the Buddhist kind of thinking. But there's also certain thing which is not in sync with the Buddhism.
Yes.
And I am very close to the Buddhist circle around here. So when I talk to them, I actually have to spend a lot of times explaining to them and then sharing my experience with them, you know. And it took a while. It took a while for the Malaysian to accept LBL. And then after that, when I'm in China, I start to do the same thing again in Hong Kong. as well as in Taiwan. And I think I'm beginning to spread this concept of LBL in terms of spirituality rather than as a religious things. So we have to get people to understand that we are not talking about religion. We are talking about something higher than that.
Yes.
And just have to go by example. I got to tell them, I got to show them, how LBL have actually changes my life, how I perceive things now. And I think I'm doing quite a fair bit over here now.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. There's a lot riding on you. I definitely know that. Meng, tell me something. When we joined, it was TNI, and then it's become MNI. And there's a flow of change, and I think one of the most constant aspects of human existence is change. And our organization, our MNI family, also is going through a change, a transformation, a shift. Now, if I look at it from a micro and a macro aspect, I think any change in my environment is actually a reflection of a change that's happening within me, because I reflect my environment, but my environment also reflects me. There's a term in Buddhism which I love. It's called Eshofuni, which is this whole thing about your universe reflects and your environment reflects you, and you reflect your environment. So if I understand that concept and I apply it here, let's say for you and me, Meng, for you, how has this change that we're going through, or this transformation that we're experiencing and are a part of, how does it reflect in your own inner space?
I begin to let go of my physical self. I look at things differently. We are actually part of a big energy. And when I start to look at it from this perspective, I begin to see the connection between everyone. Even their problem, even whatever they are experiencing, it allows me to be more sensitive to what is going on, even globally.
True.
And I think it's a very good feeling as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not bothered with a lot of these things that is going around, and I look at it from a higher perspective.
Right. So if, we keep hearing this term spiritual consciousness, and I know that's a term that we use a lot. We hear a lot of our clients use this term. It's a term that we read about, hear about a lot. At a personal level, internally, when you connect to these words, spiritual consciousness, what does it mean to you? What's the connotation for you here?
To me, it's an energy vibration. It's a vibration that resonates with those people that are sharing the same kind of frequency. So spiritual consciousness, when we look at it from the energy point of view, is a different vibration than human consciousness. And it's a high frequency. That's how I look at it.
So I keep sharing this with a lot of my clients, that spiritual consciousness is when there is such a beautiful resonance between you and the flow of life that you're in, that by and large, it makes you look younger. There's a glow about you. You can't define it, you can't pinpoint it, but it's just there. And if you ever have to ask yourself, are you in that resonance and flow, then that is spiritual consciousness, because you're
as you said, there's tremendous oneness.
Yeah.
You can feel it, you can sense it, you cannot always verbalize it. So,
True.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to know that with the kind of changes that MNI and all of us in MNI are going through, and the kind of consciousness that we're seeking beyond, it's a lot like beyond all that is known, all that is limited, all that is in form and in context, and yet there is something way beyond that.
Yeah.
Meng, how does it resonate with you? How does it make you feel?
In terms of, are you asking about in terms of spiritual consciousness?
Yes, because there is a shift we're all going through, and I think we all can feel the shift as well. We can see it happening around us, but in our organization as well, we can sense and feel the change. How do you see yourself as part of the change? What kind of resonance do you feel is there for you?
Right. Okay, I got it. So, as part of MNI, as far as I'm concerned, I need to bring the mass majority who is still not in this frequency or still not in the spiritual consciousness. We have to find some way so that we can bring everybody consciousness high up. And that's why right now I would like to see that, the things that I'm doing will be able to help a lot of people around this part of the world so that they can be more closer to what we call the spiritual consciousness. Because if spiritual consciousness is only being appreciated by MNI, then the rest of the people, we need to bring their consciousness high up as well.
Yes.
That's how I...
Meg, what about your plans for coming times? And I say it because I know you're in charge of a huge region and a growing region for us in MNI, and I'd love to know what are your plans, because to spread consciousness, as you said rightly, it is about enabling everyone to connect to their own possibility of raising their vibration. So they have to believe in it. They have to create that conscious belief and then work towards it. Are you wanting to share with us any of your plans, anything that you're looking forward to in coming times?
I plan to, conduct more LBL training in the near future so that we can chunk up more LBL facilitator around in this part of the world. And then the words can spread wider rather than just me alone, because I cannot do everything on my own. And gladly, with the recent training that we have online, we already have a few more very young people that coming in, and then they are doing the same work with me. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think when we have future generations coming forward, more and more youth coming forward, that's how we're creating a legacy for coming times.
True.
Meng, is there anything that you would like to share with our viewers, which could be maybe your words of guidance or anything at all that you would like to leave our viewers with?
I would hope to see more people have the chance to experience LBL through the worldwide facilitator that we have around. And every one of us in MNI should do our part of work by spreading and conducting more sessions so that, more and more people will come into MNI, the awareness of MNI as well as LBL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meng, I want to say a huge thank you to you, because thank you not only for what you believe in, but thank you because souls like you for us, and I say this in all honesty, are our connection to what Michael has left with us. There's a it's a sort of a heightened sense of responsibility, if I may say so,
Yeah.
towards humanity. And I know that sounds rather a large term to use, but it is to a large degree. And then souls like you who've pioneered this movement in your part of the world, and you're taking it forward, and you're taking it to the youth, which is, I think, one of the biggest thing I feel very grateful for, because we need to have younger and younger, the youth believe and understand the sheer potency of their own soul, and connecting to their soul mission, their life purpose, and just maximizing everything they've brought into this incarnation that they've taken. And
I'll do my best and go with the flow.
Yes. And I want to once again thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing your story with us. And I look forward to more work together, more collaboration together. And once again, Meng, thank you. Thank you for having me. Namaste. Thank you.